It is Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. We're wishing you wonderfully well this week with big, bold, beautiful, brilliant news for Democrats and Republicans. Kamala Harris is now chosen today, Timothy James Walz, also known as Tim Walz, as her vice president candidate. What makes this historic is Kamala Harris is a female who's also Muslim, African American, Indian, Jamaican, and for the U.S. to have a female president, it would be the first time in history. It would also be the first time a woman that is Muslim and Indian and Jamaican and African American would be the leader. So that's quite historic. And today she's chosen as her running mate, Timothy James Walz, also known as Tim Walz. Here's a little bit of information. He went to be born by God because he's from an evangelical church with his wife and his daughter Hope. And they have, as evangelical Christians, done things like had ways to help have children. He has incredible stories of being from Nebraska. He was born in West Point, Nebraska, where many people in the military have served and lived in the cornfields of Nebraska, in the cities of Omaha, and places where there's so much more quiet in certain ways compared to places like New York City, where I'm from, or Los Angeles. He's also been a teacher at a school in terms of social studies and sports, and sort of seems like a Minnesotan success story. Now, on the other side, Donald Trump has J.D. Vance, who has a huge movie, Hillbilly Elegy, done by the top producers in the world, which is surprising for Democratic people like Brian Grazer and Ron Howard to make a movie about now the top Republican vice president, but Hillbilly Elegy is produced by them. And with these four candidates, you have Donald Trump and J.D. Vance on one side for the Republicans, and the Democrats have Kamala Harris and now Tim Walz. So we now know the four people contending for president and vice president. Now, what's incredibly rare and unique about all of this is the country is in a very different place. We had COVID a few years ago. We had Donald Trump already as a president. We had Joe Biden as our current president. In the past few weeks, Donald Trump, someone tried to assassinate him and actually got to shoot him, which is quite rare and hasn't happened for a president or an ex-president in a long time. We had major internet blackouts where people lost the ability to go on their phones, to bank. Airports were at a standstill. We've had a storm just this week. My family lives out in Florida, and out in Savannah, Georgia, they had another massive amount of water. The water levels seen from these storms are bigger and probably worse than ever. So there is just a lot to do in this country. On top of that, this week, stocks in Japan were down 12% for almost 2 days, and yesterday, the U.S. stock market was crashing 3-4%. Today, it's back up. So I talk about being the best-selling author of the holistic book, Beating Bipolar. And like I said, yesterday, stocks are down terribly, and today they're up big. And that cycle has happened so much frequently, and it just makes me feel that whoever takes on as president and vice president, even talking about war, there's rumors of war next year with Russia and China and a world war. So this is very challenging for all people, and whoever does become our president and vice president has whatever Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have now in office. They have duties, responsibilities, stress, and so much pressure in different ways for the American people to have what they want. Many of us, I was just listening to some luxury, want a massive amount of abundance in our business, in our jobs, in our careers. I've talked to friends that can't find work even with master's degrees, though there are gig type works and people that are going out doing sort of simple jobs, delivering things, and it's sort of not salaried or work, but it's a new way. So with all of this, the country has a lot to look at, a lot to discuss, and I want to celebrate. Several years ago, I began with Kamala Harris art. I was the first person on the market with Kamala Harris art based on my meeting and photographs of her when she came to do an event in Los Angeles. It's a book now that is a bestseller. It came out, it was a bestseller in its category all over the world. It's called Kamala Harris Kids, 3 of the greatest heroes in history. Now today with Tim Walz running for her vice president, you can decide if you're a Democrat and you're supporting that to buy my book, Kamala Harris Kids. You can also buy Kamala's book, She Has Son. And if you're on the other side, because I know wherever I go, I see people saying stuff for Trump, people hate. I set up some things online and people send nasty messages. Even if you're for Trump, he has tons of books, and so does Kamala. And reading is good for all our children, all our youth, and all our adults, even if they take time away from the computer or watch or listen on their computer to books. I have several of my Kamala Harris Kids books available in different shops where you can buy an electronic version. So get that today, Kamala Harris Kids. The links are down below. And also check this out. We have rare art made on Kamala Harris. I have the most amount of art on the top gallery for independent artists. You can look at saatchiart.com and type in Blake LeVine and look at the Kamala Harris art. We also have other things. Now, here's how grateful I am. Because Trump was president, I made art about him. So if you're a Republican and you have to fight and only buy what you want, you could buy too. And if you're a Democrat, you could buy Kamala. And it could show you care. Because I'm thinking all throughout the U.S. and world, there should be people that care about art, about leaders. And it should be interesting to see how many buyers come forward. She now is, like I said, historic for the first woman, first female, first African American, first Indian, first Muslim person to be possibly president. But on the other side, Donald Trump has a legion of supporters, people in the military, people in the police forces, people that are mainly Republican from deep Christian churches where they're very religious and only believe their one way. So it's a tough fight. And right now the polls are 50-50. And whichever way you go, you got the four candidates. I was thinking about my brother who passed. He's also a book, Depression, Bipolar, and Heroin. He was born on April 4th. Now, this top person, Tim James, has been born, Tim James Walz, on April 6th. Now, I get a little sad thinking about my brother born April 4th, and 2 days later this man is born, but they share a similar thing in terms of what people look at horoscopes and stars. And when I say Timothy James Walz, I wish you guys wonderfully well. I think of Billy Joel. He talked about a song, James, where someone was just sort of not doing well. Do you like your life? And I want you to like your life. I want you to love your life, to find fun, to find fascination, to find freedom, to find health, happiness, hope, joy, light, luck, love, and learning. And as you listen to this beautiful video and watch with me, we together give each other a high five on all sides. We know that with the power at stake in the country and global war, there's much to do for all people. And we wish you wonderfully well this week. Please look down below to buy the books, buy the art, and of course the coaching, because we'll work with people on both sides. I'll admit one of the reasons I'm nice in terms of politics is I've helped as a coach, both Republicans and Democrats. When someone has a schizophrenic or bipolar or autistic child or someone that's dealing with depression or even just having some issues wants coaching, I work with them and don't care. I'll take sides, the side of the Lord. And if you look on this side, Mother Teresa, who I used to write with as a kid, that's what the Lord says, be good to all people. Whatever your religion, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Christian, Catholic, a Scientologist, an atheist, or even have your own Buddhism or any type of belief, we wish you wonderfully well, and we'll see you again soon. This is Super 7 and your host, Blake LeVine.